Hi guys, today I will give an in-depth guide on how to play Alpha in today's meta. I am the current Global 1 Alpha with over 75+. Win rate on Alpha overall every season. We will go over the best builds, play style, and tricks even seasoned Alpha players didn't know. After watching this, you will become an amazing Alpha player. Let's start with Alpha's passive ability. Each time Alpha hits an enemy with a skill, they will get a mark on top of their heads. This mark is called Beta. This is the most important part of Alpha's kit. As you can see, after a skill was hit, Layla now has a mark on top of her head. However, as you can see, there is only one side of the mark that is filled in. We must use any of Alpha's skills 2 times. To fill the mark completely, here is an example.
Death is but a petty thief.
As you can see, the mark is now glowing and full on both sides. When the mark is full, all of Alpha's basic attack and skills will deal true damage. True damage ignores enemy defense stats and damage reduction effects. You can see true damage as the white damage counter, highlighted in the clip. Let's move on to Alpha's Skill 1. This is the bread and butter to all of his skill combos. Known as Rotary Impact, the skill will deal a small amount of damage in a straight line. When the skill is hit, enemies will be marked by Alpha's passive and slowed by 40%. This skill will be your main poke ability. Now let's talk about Alpha's Skill 2, Force Swing. This is by far the most important skill to master in his kit. Alpha's Skill 2 is a fan-shaped attack that restores his HP for every hero, monster, or minion hit. There are 2 marks inside the skill. Look closely. Most people are not aware of this. If you look at the fan shape of the skill, on the top, there is an arrow. The arrow is actually the indication mark for Beta, Alpha's passive. It is very important that you land your skill to within this range so that your passive will mark. As you can see in the clip, my skill is on the very edge of the enemy. But because the arrow is still on them, Alpha's passive will mark. So remember, try to hit as many enemies, minions, or creeps in this skill as you can. The more you hit, the more health you will gain back in return. Finally, let's talk about Alpha's ultimate ability. Alpha's ultimate is an airborne knockup that stuns for 1 second. Alpha will take the enemies from his starting location and move them into the indicating circle. The enemies must be inside the small tube section of the indicator to knock them airborne. Here is an example. However, there's something many people will not tell you. The tube is not the accurate measurement. It is, in fact, much wider than the indicator shows. As you can see in the clip, Layla is not in the indicated zone, but was still caught. So how wide is the actual ultimate? Well, if you look at the circle on the top, the widest point of the circle is the actual width of his ult. When using Alpha's ultimate, remember that you are dragging enemies away first. So try not to move them too far away from your teammates. Here are a few extremely important points to remember. Alpha's ultimate has 2 parts. It's not just one knockup, it actually is very unique. When pressing Alpha's ultimate on an enemy, they will be stunned, before Alpha even pushes them up. Here's an example. As you can see, the Layla is marked with stun and then airborne. This means that you can always throw Alpha's ult to stun. Immediately, even though there is an animation delay, you can still apply the effect. You cannot ult over the thicker walls on the map. However, if you do use your ultimate over them and hit an enemy, the stun we talked about earlier will still apply, like so. Here's another game-changing secret about Alpha's ultimate. It actually has another trigger for Beta. When the ult lands, Beta will shoot the circle area of the ultimate 3 times each one, doing true damage and stacking onto the passive marks. But here's the secret only true Alpha players know. Even if you miss the ultimate, as long as Beta is near them, your passive will still mark the enemy. Crazy, right? Take a look. As you can see, Layla was neither stunned or knocked up, but at the end, Beta still marked her. So next time you think your ult isn't close enough to finish that kill, go for it. You can still apply damage and passive, as long as you are close enough. Before we go into combos and builds, let's look at what mastering the basics looks like.
It's a matter of time before I get rid of the police. What do you think of that, Al? This is my perfect victory! That's right! I win!
take a look at the builds. This build is your go-to-jungle build. War Axe is a must-have item for Alpha. Skypiercer is also a core item in the current meta for Alpha. It covers many areas he lacks. The third final core item is Queen's Wings. This item makes Alpha who he is. Never be afraid when you are low HP. The damage reduction along with bonus spell vamp it provides on low HP makes Alpha truly a force to be reckoned with. Take a look at what I did when I had my Queen's Wings active in this clip, using the exact same build as shown. Even though I'm low health, I utilized the item to its best ability. This next build is for Alpha in XP lane. XP laners are tanky frontline engagers, or bruisers. Although Alpha isn't as good in the XP lane, he does win most matchups, and this build helps to cover his flaws. The full tank approach lets Alpha do the bruising, and he can also engage at the same time keeping a solid damage output. This final build is for high DPS output. If you already have 2 tanks on your team, the Sea Halberd approach provides a more assassin-type approach to Alpha, allowing you to clear fast in the early game and one-shot squishy and even tank heroes. I recommend this build when you have a strong frontline tank and bruiser. For example, Grok and Glue on the same teams. The downside of this build is that Alpha will lose a lot of the tanky 1v3 power as you fall off to the late game, so snowball as much as you can. Now let's go over Alpha's counterpicks. Alpha is weak to high mobility assassins, high burst mages, and hard CC chains. However, assassins must have a high skill ceiling, or Alpha won't have much issues towards them. What are the standout counterpicks? Let's start with Kagura. Her high burst and easy escape with her Purify can easily outplay Alpha and shut him down. Next is Valir. His continuous slow, ulti, Purify, and CC will easily put an end to Alpha. Next is Selena. Her stun arrow and multiple dashes along with burst can easily interrupt Alpha's combo. Next on the list is Fanny. A good Fanny won't have any issues against Alpha, it's a complete loss. Matchup for average Alphas. This one may be controversial, but Gusion in early game can easily put an end to Alpha. However, during the mid game when Alpha has built magic defense, it's more of a 70-30. Next up is Arlott and Carmilla. These two can provide back-to-back stuns that will completely shut him down. Alpha lacks mobility, getting caught by either of these two heroes is game over in teamfight. So what heroes are Alpha good with? Alpha loves e-girls, Florin, Angela, Matilda, Rafaela, having that extra health top up. During teamfights, an extra sustain allows him to keep pushing through those 1v5 situations. E-girls are love, e-girls are life. I'm looking for 1H Mew. Alpha's best combo is with Matilda. The fast rotation and jungle clear she provides is unmatched. Alpha's jungle clear is already fast. Having that extra boost can put you way above the enemy jungler in the first turtle fight. Finally, when do we pick Alpha? Alpha shines against high HP enemies. Picking Alpha into tanky junglers and heavy XP laners is where she shines. He can kill tanks just as fast as Carry can. Take advantage of roamers who don't understand the power of Alpha. If you see a tank engage him, he will be dead before he even realized what happened. If you made it to the end, thank you for watching.